Welcome to the Care Right podcast, your go-to resource for all things elder care. Guiding us through this journey is Annalee Kruger, the founder of Care Right Incorporated, and she has been steadfastly supporting families across the United States. Each episode brings you expert insights, innovative strategies, and practical advice, ensuring that you're well equipped to provide the best possible care for your loved ones. Expect to gain valuable knowledge, learn from real-life stories, and get inspired to take action in your own caregiving journey. So buckle up as we dive into an in-depth discussion of elder care planning and together embrace the journey of caring for aging loved ones on the Care Right podcast.
Hi everyone, my name is Annalee Kruger with Care Right Incorporated. We work with families all across the country developing customized aging plans. Most of the family members who come to us are the burned out sons and daughters who have been tending to their parents' needs for a period of time and are realizing that missing work and having to jump on crisis airfare plane, getting crisis airfare tickets and taking time away from their own families to then try to figure out how to best support their parents has taken a toll on them emotionally, physically, financially, relationship-wise with their spouses, with their own family members, with their siblings, and often with their aging parents as well. So we work with families virtually since 2011 in facilitating family meetings and helping families sort out and think about different care solutions and care options based on their goals and what they can afford. So part of what we do with Care Right is a lot of education and just consumer awareness with this Caregiver Crisis podcast. And today I'm really excited to talk with Jack. He is our guest today. He's a family caregiver, and I wanted him to share his unique story and his background and what's going on with him and his wife and a very powerful cause that he's a big part of. So Jack, take it away. Tell us about you and what your situation is, and we'll just go from there.
Thank you, Annalee, and thanks for anybody that's listening to this, because I'm sure we're not unique. My wife's name is Linda, so Jack and Linda, we're not unique with anybody else that's dealing with difficult diseases. So Linda and I have been married 10 years, and we both lost our spouses of 30 years to cancer. And it was a pretty bleak time, and then we found each other and life was good again. We have a blended family. She has two sons, I have two sons, and they have their families. And we had two homes, one in Toledo, Ohio, one in Naples, Florida. And then as this progressed, we realized we had to simplify our lives. And we have now settled full-time in Naples, Florida. But for most of that time, 10 years, in fact, next month is going to be our 10th year anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. Most of that time has been really pretty special. I mean, we've had a chance to travel to Europe and Asia and different places, and our families have gotten along well together. And frankly, life was good. And then in about 2018, Linda started acting differently, and she complained about dizziness. And so go to the doctor, find out what's going on. Well, it ended up being a lot more complex than that. We ended up going to 10 doctors, and each one was looking at their own specialty. One said, well, it might be her pacemaker. They ruled that out. One might be cancer, ruled that out. So on and on. 10 doctors, they all ruled out what it wasn't or what it was. And then finally, our primary care physician in Ohio sent us to the ProMedica Neuroscience Center. And there the doctor spent an hour and a half with Linda and said, she has PSP. What the heck is PSP? No idea. And so we finally figured out, he told us, progressive supranuclear palsy. So we to our physician again, and he said, well, it's a clinical diagnosis. We need to get a second opinion. So we ended up going to Cleveland Clinic, same routine, and they confirmed PSP. So the first thing was, since we didn't know about it, I had to learn about it. And the more I learned about it, the worse it got, because it's a progressive disease. It affects walking, talking, swallowing, eyesight, and all of that. So we went from not knowing anything about PSP to carrying this card, which is a medical alert card, that says I have a rare brain disease called progressive supranuclear palsy. And almost every hospital or doctor's office we go in and I show them this card, they've never treated someone with PSP. So that's just emotionally a very devastating place to be. I was naturally wanting to learn as much as I could about it. And I found an organization headquartered in New York called Cure PSP. And thank God for them. It's a small organization, but they are dedicated to the disease of PSP and other related diseases to that. So I then made two commitments. One, be the best caregiver I can be to Linda, and two, help find a cure. And the more I learned about it, the more devastating it was, because there are no known causes of it. It's not like it's genetic or anything like that. It just happens. And there's no known cure for it. So it's in a very tough position to be in. And I did get involved, and I raised my hand to be on the board of Cure PSP, because that was part of my commitment, because I wanted to help other people across the country, and it's actually across the world, that have this disease. So one of the toughest decisions that we faced was, do we stay in our house, or do we go to a continuing care retirement community that takes care of you from where you are till the end? And our lawyer, we were working on our estate plans, and our lawyer said, well, you need to talk to Anna Lee Kruger. That's what she does. Care Right Incorporated helps people in these tough situations figure out the best aging plan for themselves and for their situation. So Anna Lee came over, met with Linda and I, and she got a good sense of our situation and the disease. And then she talked with all four of the families. And where are you about this disease? And they were all very supportive of it, but they don't live next door to us either. You know, one's in Michigan, one's in Las Vegas, one's in Colorado, one's in Chicago. So it's not like they're popping in all the time. And so she did her analysis, fresh eyes, research, and all of this. And honestly, Anna Lee, I thought you were going to recommend that we go into one of the continuing care places, which there's some beautiful places here in Naples, Florida. But she said, look, the way those places are set up compared to the way Linda's disease progresses doesn't really match up. And to give you an example, when Linda is walking, she needs someone to help her walk. And I am literally her human walker. She locks onto my arms, I lock onto her arms, I back up, and she walks along. Her food is all pureed so that she can swallow it, because swallowing is a big issue. She can't push a button if she's in an assisted living place and have somebody come and help her go to the bath. So it's one-on-one care. So two things happen. One is we kind of felt like maybe that's the way we ought to do, but with Anna Lee's experience, it really validated this is a good approach for us to go forward with. And that gave us confidence then to do what we needed to do. And she said, okay, here's some things you need to do. Number one, if you're going to stay in your home, you need to have an occupational therapist go through your house, tell you where the grab bars need to go, what kind of flooring you need, this kind of thing, so that everything is in a safe environment, which she did, and we did, and we made modifications to the house. And frankly, they're not, super elaborate modifications, but they're what are needed for a safe place. And then the second one is you need to have time for yourself as a caregiver. So you need to get allied with a professional caregiving organization. So we now have caregivers that come into our home some days a week, and that gives me time to go play golf. And that's my therapy. Linda's doing her physical therapy. That's my therapy, which keeps me grounded and energized. And one thing I'd be remiss to say is I was going through let's say, the shock of the disease. Linda was strong through the whole process. She said, it is what it is. And she doesn't complain. She does her physical therapy, which is the only way that slows down the progression. She just keeps going on. And you're a trooper. And that gives me strength.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just amazing the way she is and how strong she is. And that's a blessing for both of us. And it's amazing her strength.
Yeah, well, you both are very incredible people, but it's always a delight to work with families who are like yours. You've had conversations about the what whens of aging and what, kind of feeling out what are our goals as we age. And so when I came in the picture, it was just kind of, here's some different considerations. Here's based on what your unique situation is, your goals, your entire situation. It just depends on what makes the most sense for that particular family. But it's great to work with families who have had dialogue and who have had conversations, because this caregiving journey and this aging journey and chronic disease progression journey, it's hard. And so the more that families can work as a team and communicate effectively,
Right.
the better. There's all sorts of communication that happens, but it's got to be effective and productive communication. Believe me, your family, I did not have to do any mediation with, so that's always you guys get along.
Yeah, they have been very supportive. And
Yeah.
so every day I wake up, how can I be the best caregiver I can to Linda? And how can I move the ball forward to find a cure?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, if you allow me, I'd like to make a plug for Cure PSP, because next month there will be the 20th annual walk for PSP in Marco Island. And it is dedicated to the research for this disease. And the interesting thing about PSP is it is related to Alzheimer's, it's related to Parkinson's. So for instance, last year we raised $250,000 for neurostem cell research. And there is an institute that does that. Well, it's not only for PSP, it is moving the cure possibility for both Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and PSP. One of the reasons they like to do research with PSP is because it progresses faster than Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. So they get results faster, so if any of your listeners or viewers are so moved, if you go to curepsp.org, you can make a donation or come to the walk in Marco Island if you want to have a beautiful walk around a lake. And
or do both.
Very welcome. Or do both. Exactly.
Do both.
Right.
There's worse places to be in March than Florida.
And thank you to CareRight for making a donation already for Cure PSP and for the walk.
Well, it just, your stories are just touching, and just seeing the journey that that your whole family has been on, but more specifically you and Linda, because you're in the day-to-day of it, right? But the story and the love that you two share, it's like you're still newlyweds, and it's just, I know when I've left your home before, I've been choked up because the love that you have for one another is just so unbelievably present. It's so obvious. And the fact that you've taken on this disease and working so diligently at trying to find cures and spread awareness. The awareness is such a big piece of it because there's a lot there, like you said, it's people don't know what it is.
Right.
And so for you to just roll up your sleeves and get involved in Cure PSP, it's Cure PSP for those that might not have caught it the first couple of times. But yeah, hop on the website and, come down to Marco Island, down to Florida, join in the Cure PSP fight, if you will, or crusade. There's lives that are counting on this. So
thank you, Annalee. You're choking me up now. Another first for this walk is it's the 20th annual, and NBC2 is going to cover it.
Oh, nice.
So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's good, and that's what it takes is education and publicity like that.
Correct. That's right.
To draw attention to that. So that's great. Is there anything else that would be helpful for listeners or viewers to know about PSP, or anything else that you'd like to share?
I really just want to say thank you to you, because you helped us with one of the toughest decisions that anybody makes in their life. So thanks to you, Annalee.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, and thank you. And Jack, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know this is going to touch so many people's lives and their heartstrings, and you never know, you never know who's listening or watching to this, and they have the same situation that you and Linda do. So
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you for tuning into the CareRight podcast. We hope today's discussion has provided you with valuable insights. If so, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast with others who might find it helpful. Remember, CareRight is more than just a podcast. It's a community dedicated to supporting family caregivers with comprehensive care planning, crisis management, and resources for every stage of aging. Stay connected with us for future episodes as we continue to explore essential topics in aging planning, elder care, and financial planning. Until next time, take care, plan wisely, and remember, you're not alone in your caregiving journey.